Hoseo.
Hoseo.
Cherokee greeting. Wave the great feather for the good of it. And also today, Namaste. A little touch of India. My theme is Coyote's Hindu Temple, or Coyote and the Hindu Temple. Last week, Claudia and I, we took a pilgrimage to Chino Hills. Chino Hills is a ways east of Los Angeles. It's real famous at one time because Steve McQueen's, that's his hometown. Tiger Woods was down the road, a few other notables out there. It was, you know, a more lightweight, out-of-the-way community at one time, but not anymore. We went there to see a only 10-year-old Hindu temple. This Hindu temple is named Sri Swami Narayana Mandir. Mandir means temple. And we look up here, I did get a picture of it. It's amazing. It was all carved and everything in India out of I think sandstone, and shipped here and put together like a giant 3D jigsaw puzzle.
Wow.
I mean, it's really incredible in that way. So all the outside of it is that, and that's the main building, but there are others around it. Inside the temple, it's like a truncated pyramid when you walk up it. This picture here is taken from the east side of it, so it's not in the front. And the inside, when you surmounted the temple proper, is on top, and inside it's all been carved with white Italian marble. I mean, it is incredible. And characteristic of Hindu temples, all these deities, over 200 of them, all carved about that high, you know, totally, you know, engulf the whole temple. Hindu temples are all about cave and mountain. Early temples, kind of using that word that way, mandir means a temple in the cave. They were actually carved out of living rock. Amazing. And that sense has still continued, you know, with these temples. And the mountain part, some of the temples, especially the earlier ones, were, you know, have like a tall tower that, you know, means the mountain there. This one you can't tell from this angle, but it has 5 towers. In this case, it's a mountain range. And if you stand on the other side, facing east, it's beautiful. You look, and there's the San Gregorio Mountains, and they were snow-capped when we were there. So, mountain and cave, that's very much what it has to do with. And it's a functioning temple. It's not a museum. It's an actual functioning temple for people. The various temples are in India. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these, and they've been going on for more than 2,000 years. It's really amazing in that way. And I'm saying pretty much each temple, whatever they are, embodies certain concepts, and they are located in all different places in this huge, huge country of India. So it varies, but there are, you know, certain basics that sort of evolved in it, in which the temple will embody some concept. You know, might be a deity. In the case of this one, it was a concept about around 100 years ago. The first one that was in New Delhi, and it's, I would call it a universalist attempt at Hinduism. Again, Hinduism is, you know, European names like Buddhism. You know, the name Hindu is coming from the Indus River that runs north and south. It is now running through Pakistan, like that. The river was also called the Sindh. So you get the Sindh, or the Indus, and the name the Hindu has come out of it. It's very extensive, like that. So all this is kind of introduction, you know, to this temple that we had the occasion to be there. Puja, both in Buddhism and Hinduism, means worship. You know, so you have fire, you know, like that, or pour something over the statue, like that. All that is puja. So I really felt myself was really received amazingly and so respectfully and everything by, seemed to be the manager of the temple. So very, very wonderful. So with that, I'm using that as this prompt. And I'm going to follow the end of this with a poem that Claudia has composed, inspired by what I've just told you about. And this is my painting for Coyote's Hindu temple. And here, you see this being here, this is, the auspicious awareness being, orejas grandes, orejas grandes mean big ears, hearing all. And here, this mountain. The mountain is also, this is the ideal of Karisa, Mount Karisa. It's north of India, it's part of the Himalayas. And this is the mountain of Shiva. Shiva meaning auspicious here. And so that's why I have figured that here. And this also has to do how the life of Coyote has, converged in these. As a youngster, where I was living in the Bay Area, east of the Oakland, Berkeley cities, well east, is a mountain. It's called Mount Diablo. And my father had taken me there, a few times to Mount Diablo. And that was a very, very special place, for me. In fact, I was just a boy, like in elementary school, found my first petroglyph up there. And that mountain somehow accompanied me to other mountains. I was on a Navy ship there in East Pacific, and I was in a typhoon. I was on watch on a bridge, and I had a vision of Mount Fuji. I mean, I thought it was Mount Fuji, but later I found I was really too far away to see it, but I did see it. So, and others, San Francisco peaks in northern Arizona and Mount Shasta. So this mountain has, been happening with me all along. I put a little deer here to say that this Mount Diablo was a special, kind of wild place. Curiously, I never in adult life, I never went back there. But I was, on the afterbirth of the Beat Poets there in San Francisco. I lived up there when I was younger, and then in Southern California, then went back to San Francisco in 1957, just after the Beat Poets made their debut. Evidently, I was in a college, and Michael McClure, one of those Beat Poets, was my teacher, and he had a friend, Philip Whalen. He wasn't of the Beat Poets properly, but he very much influenced me. And in my book here that Claudia published, poem on Siddhartha, the Unspoken Sutra. And I'm saying this because Philip Whalen, this is the last I've heard of my Mount Diablo, is that's where he lived, like that. And so out of this theme, like that, I'm just picking one of my poems that I think fit in with this theme. These temples, are, every inch of it is significant, totally. And in Java, there is a huge, just man-made, but it's like a mountain with all these Buddhists and all it's the greatest Buddhist monument on earth, like that. It's called Borobudur. That means diamond of the secret aspect. And I learned a lot about it. So this is a poem, and this is in memory of Philip Whalen, who had something to do with my poem. I did a eulogy for his passing here in Twigs, some years ago. So, with the Samanas, the door of the famed Borobudur, in it I wish to seek my mind, hidden there, my soul, truth hard found, may startle me there, surrounded by lives unrealful, real, magicful, mythful, half-seen eyes, downcast grills, bells of silent sermon held to me by likeness of souls as likened to thread-clutching spools. Om. So in here, in my painting, you kind of get some other things that I have going on here. This represents sound. There's the figure that's usually used for Om. It's actually A-U-M. That looks like a 3. But it's called the Nada Brahma. And much of this is in Native America and in Lakota in particular, Walangli, meaning that electric sound that you hear is the spiritual current. So that's what this represents here. And here the blue horse that carries the sun is who that is up here. And Coyote, of course, even now that the Coyote star, when something eventful has happened, then Coyote star is showing it in the sky. And here the eagle. The eagle is also meaning the path, the spiritual path. This is the eagle who never dies. The eagle gives his feathers to us and so forth, like that. And inside there's the hand, have no fear, Abhi Mudra there. And here this is the constellation for the white buffalo constellation that was watching over us from June through January. So it's probably going down the other side, so that's who that is. And here, this one is the moth of knowledge. The affinity of the moth and the owl, is their silence. And of course, the moth has that powder, that golden powder here. And here with it is a pair of owl feathers. And these owl feathers are the spirit beings. They're the spirit beings that are named actually True Mind and True Heart. And it is these true beings that guide our animal spirits through that veil of death. So the owl mother, that she says, fly into my feathers through the darkness and have no fear. So that's what her message is. Over here, when in college, I registered for a class in Indian art history by a renowned professor. I thought she was wonderful, Dr. Piakoski. And when I walked into the lecture hall, this picture was on the slide was showing. And it was my very, very first instance of the Indian art like that. It's about this size, and this is from, about 6,000 years ago. It's found in the archaeology found it in the ancient civilization there. We call it Hindus, like that. So that's really important, and I always hope I would find something like that, and I do have 2 or 3 that I have found like that. And with that, we go down here to this stone head, because this is the oldest artifact that I have, and it correlates to this temple in that this style of temple evolved about 1,000 years ago, and that's about the age for this stone head of a female deity of some kind. What's significant is that all the way her features have been carved, they're standard, so all the same goes for the portrayals of Buddha. These are all exactly set in stone, so any female deity carved will have these exact same features. And what I've placed her in, you see this woven circle. The archaeology of thousands of years ago in this valley have found stone called ring stones, and actually the word yoni, because yoni, and people have mistakenly put together something they call the yoni and the lingam, as if that is a phallic monument in the vulva, which is not the case. Yoni means source. And so I have this here because this is a contemporary woven version of the same thing, having her head emerged from that ring, meaning the os. like that. So I put that little correction in there. And along with that, over here, I have this picture. This embodies all the feminine, you know, in the culture. In particular, I wrote her name here. Maribel was, in the 19th century, the most extolled woman poet for her passion of Krishna that put other pundits to shame with her passion. And down here, this is Nandi, meaning sort of bliss, that is usually seen with Shiva. Above him is a little picture. This is the elephant-headed character called Ganesha, and he was, very potent with me at one time. And then over here in India, serpents called Nagas, and there's even the people called Nagas, is very substantial. And so in the queen of the Nagas is Manasa. Manasa, she's like the Naga, the serpent queen. And then there is the Manasa Yaga. That means mental devotion. In India, there's every kind of anything for anybody. And that's one of the mental devotion is what I have figured here. And here I put this here. In Native America, we call it Chankaruta, meaning the good red road, which is meaning our spiritual path. And the spiritual path is really governed by the word samaya, meaning integrity. Integrity is self-empowerment, and that motivates our path. And above it, right here, this is a picture of an Indian basket, meaning an offering basket. I have a prayer feather above it. So in the Southwest and in the West, native baskets are paramount. They're so significant that even these interments we have found there, like in Nevada, they're thousands upon thousands of years old, are accompanied by woven baskets, many of them. So that sense of offering and gratitude that goes with everything. And so with that, I'm really honored to read Claudia's poem here. Get her in the right place. Again, mandir is meaning the temple. That's what we were talking about there. And puja means worship. That's her title here, the mandir, puja. Walking up the steps of a sacred puzzle, the mandir temple, our spiritual destination, a Hindu place of worship where 200 sandstone deities carved in India assembled here in my own heartland. A landmark of ancient arts, community, and economy. The Sanatana Dharma, the eternal law, rituals, cosmologies, pilgrimages, a way of human life, diverse thought, not a religion, no God, no holy book, many deities, Rama, Sita, Shiva, Parvati, divine teachers, Vivekananda, Gandhi. All cosmic elements are present, fire to water, nature to deities, feminine to masculine, fleeting sounds and incense smells to the eternal and universal. At the top of the stairs, the doors open, and we are ushered past carved columns of white marble. Join in the puja chanting at the altar of Radha and Krishna. I'm in tears, salt water streaming down my face, life's flaming breath swaying with presence.
Wow, beautiful.